$5 a gallon for gasoline? You bet. This is Washington State. We have some of the highest gasoline prices out there. Gas prices in Washington surge amid new 6 cent a gallon fuel tax. That's the reality you live in when you've got a bunch of Democrats running your state. Let's get into it. Here we go. See what my fellow comrades here in Washington have to say about all this.
6 cents. It may not sound like a lot, but it already has some thinking of making a change.
Or even considering getting a new vehicle just because of that, possibly a hybrid or, electric now. It's just cheaper.
For the first time in 9 years, Washington State increasing its gas tax from 49 cents to 55.
That's a lot. And it's definitely going to impact how often I fill up my car, probably how many trips I take throughout the summer, and which vehicle we decide
And who'd you vote for? Just asking. For a friend.
to take for sure.
And for others, it's less about this hike and more about what feels like a never-ending trend.
I think we're one of the highest in the country, it seems like. And so
Yep.
I'm against any new gas taxes, of course.
California,
Aren't we all?
Washington, and Oregon have some of the highest average gas prices in the United States. According to AAA, Washington's average gallon of gas costs $4.42. Only Hawaii and California are more expensive.
I got buddies down south that are only paying like $2.50, $3. So obviously there's a vast discrepancy between $3 and $4.50, $4.60, and now another 6 cents.
The increase was approved with the passage of Senate Bill 5801, which is estimated to raise more than $1 billion over the next 6 years to address a budget shortfall in the state's transportation budget.
I'm not going to stop driving. That's why they know they can charge more. Nobody is.
And for drivers like Foley Abbott, who remember lower prices a few decades ago,
Was it $1.07, $1.08?
the sticker shock hits even harder.
It's going to be Europe in no time. You're going to have to be a baller just to drive.
That is true. I talked to my buddy in Australia. Gas there per liter is just outrageous. You're like, what's that convert to per gallon? Oh, not good. Literally, Europe prices.
And this won't be the final increase because starting next year, Washington State will implement a 2% increase on the gas tax, and that is tied to inflation. That starts July 1st, 2026.
Ah,
In Vancouver, I'm Devin Haskins, KGW News.
just so we go to Oregon for Washington State news. Of course we do. Why wouldn't we? It's on the border, right? So yeah, that extra, we got the 6 cent gas tax, and then we've got a 2% annual cost of living raise for gas tax based on inflation, right? So this is one of those things. Prices are just going to keep going up. You got to pay for all this ridiculous nonsense with something. Now, the 6 cent a gallon gas tax is supposed to help for the roads, but all the road improvements and whatnot, how about all the money that's being spent on just ridiculous programs? That could be pushed to the roadway too. And then we wouldn't have to have these ridiculous taxes. But I am, preaching to the choir here, because anybody that lives in Washington, you either accept the fact that you've got leadership that just wants to tax the F out of you, or you're on board with it. You're like, this is the greatest thing ever. Just tax me. Just keep on taxing me because I love it, because I keep voting for the same people. They've been in charge for 40-something years in Washington. And why wouldn't we have the highest gas in Pacific Northwest? And more than 61 million holiday travelers prepare to hit the road this week for 4th of July. AAA reports that gas prices nationwide may see a slight increase. But Washington drivers need to brace themselves for even higher costs. Starting Tuesday, July 1st, yesterday, new gas tax adds another 6 cents per gallon of unleaded to fund road projects and bridge maintenance. Diesel is up 3 cents a gallon. That hikes the state's per gallon tax from 49.4 to 55.4 cents. Now, on just a true cents per gallon, Washington State is, I think, in third place with that tax behind Pennsylvania and California. California is always leading the pack, right? They've always got the best, and most expensive, and Not the best. But that's not all. Per gallon prices for unleaded will rise 2% every year to adjust for inflation. Who signed that up? I mean, seriously, you're pricing people out of the state of Washington, period. You got so many programs you could suck money from. Just ridiculous stuff because we're a Democrat-led state. We just got programs out there, you know what, that are completely unnecessary. They're just like, you don't really need that, but let's go ahead and fund it. All this other stuff that we're going to have to come up with funds to pay for, like, necessary things like bridges. Diesel will increase by 3 cents more in 2 years. Then in 2028, it'll increase 2 cents a gallon each year. That is comforting. That's comforting. AAA shows Washington drivers already pay around $4.42 per gallon. I'm paying here in Bellevue more like $4.75. Well above the national average of $3.18. God, I'd love to have a 3 in front of my gasoline. Washington drivers always pay significantly more to the state's high gas taxes, and costs passed on from climate initiatives. We've got this cap and trade program for carbon offsets, and that's what's driven our gas prices through the roof. Nobody wants to admit that's the actual reality. Our politicians say it's just a couple of cents a gallon. And you're like, well, then it really adds up because we got some expensive gas here. Prices along the Interstate 5 corridor range from $4.22 in Skagit, way to the north, to about $4.70 in King County, where I am. Yeah, that's about right. I was going to say $4.75. I mean, that makes absolute sense. Yeah, and as if that wasn't enough of a bonus, also increasing Tuesday here in Washington State are fees for new driver's licenses. That's great. State IDs and vehicle registration. Just a scooch. Hey, put the tip in just a scooch, and here we are, a bunch of new taxes. Opinions among Seattle drivers are divided on whether the added cost is justified. Who did you vote for? Who did you vote for? That's all I'm going to say. With interviewees telling Como News that they're not seeing city or road infrastructure improvements that validate the price increase. Yeah, but when they make statements like that, you're asking some dude at a gas station, what do you think about the high gas prices? Well, I think they're uncalled for. We don't need them. I remember when they were $1.07, $1.08. Times change, things get more expensive, and you got to pay for stuff somehow. And in Washington State, this is the road that we're going to go down. Super expensive gasoline on top of super expensive housing, super expensive, a whole bunch of stuff. Seattle doesn't pay money on the infrastructure in here. They go down I-5, it bumps everything. So I don't think we spend enough money on that. And Seattle local Timothy Durden said, okay, we're basically California now with our gas prices. Yeah, totally. Some drivers are searching extensively for the best deals on gas. Near the airport, prices are notably higher because they know they're going to get you. You're returning that rental car? Okay. You're going to take it. People paying nearly $5 a gallon at a 76 station. And this is before the gas tax went into effect. These price spikes are leading to frustration. I am frustrated and I have concerns among drivers concerned about the impact on their holiday travel plans. Well, this is just kind of how this goes, though. I mean, were you expecting a price drop? I mean, we knew this was coming. We knew that our political leadership was going to, put something like this into the plans. And here we are. And now we're talking about, wow, we've got expensive gasoline. In addition to the gas tax, the state's CO2 emissions tax from the Climate Commitment Act just went up another 6 cents as well. Oh, that's great. That's such good news. All right, go Washington. Those who don't agree with the law, which requires businesses to pay fees for their air pollution, blame it for increasing gas prices. I 100% do, because it's cause and effect. I mean, what did you think would happen? These are the shenanigans that we've been dealing with for years and decades. And now people are like, yeah. People won't wake up until it's too late. And they'll be like, now, how did we get here? How did things become so expensive? I remember back when I was watching a kind of a documentary on the past 3 decades of not Florida, of Portland and how Portland got in the situation it's in with, politics and the downtown core and housing prices and how things got so expensive. Super fascinating to kind of see the progression of home prices in Portland because it used to be cheap. It's one of the reasons so many people went there. It was cheap. Like, wow. Shockingly cheap. 180 grand for a decent home. Nice home. And then, knowing where things have gone, that's now a $750,000 home. And you can't afford, if you're a barista, you can't afford a bedroom there now because things have just gotten so out of control expensive because you limited the supply of housing. Same thing here in Washington. And guess what? Your rents go through the roof and your mortgage goes through the roof because housing prices are so high. State Department of Ecology emphasized that regulations like the Climate Commitment Act are not the primary factor in gas prices. Spokesperson explained that the recent increase of just over 3 cents per gallon mirrored the national trend. Oh, I feel so much better. We just put you over the barrel for just a minor infraction there. Yeah. Revenue from the CO2 emissions tax is allocated to various programs aimed at reducing carbon emissions. I don't care. I just don't care about that. You know what I mean? Just like that, not on my priority list. Don't care. I need to go to another state. Since its inception 2.5 years ago, the program has raised approximately $3.2 billion. Well, you wouldn't know it by driving on our roads that we've got all this money floating around. And come summer here in the state of Washington, man, we just go into this enormous construction blitz of roadway. And you're left with, man, all this stuff going on. And our gas prices are going through the roof. How's all this work? Oh, yeah. We don't have any Republicans in charge. We got nothing. We're just, hey, this is what you guys are going to pay. You got to love it. Hey, look at the mountains. They're really pretty. Hey, look at Puget Sound. It's really pretty. Gasoline, $5 a gallon. Not really pretty. No, gas goes way over $5 a gallon, I think, here in Washington this summer. Way over $5 a gallon. Now, speaking of $5 a gallon, will the gas price in California, there was a recent USC study, and we talked about that. I did a podcast on that. Will gasoline go as high as $8.44 a gallon in California? Might. It could. I mean, they've got that whole shrinkage by 20% of the refineries. And now they're actually trying to back off some of their refinery legislation because who knew that when you shrink the supply of oil to be refined and the ability to refine said oil, gas prices go through the roof. It's the same thing. You throw on a bunch of taxes, you reduce supply. Yeah, you're going to have expensive gas. And that's what California has. And Washington is always, 2.0 of California. We are San Francisco light. Seattle is San Francisco light. Whatever they're doing down there, whatever's going on down there. And I point this way because that's south. That's where California is. Whatever they're doing, we're going to copy it because why wouldn't we? Because things have gone so well in California that we're just gonna focus on that. How can we make Washington State more like California? That's what we're doing. That's what it feels like we're doing anyway. And it also feels like these Democrat leaders they're just all in lockstep about the new Green Deal and all this just crazy stuff that isn't really having an impact on the environment. I don't see how it could. Literally pushing up the cost for people to just basically operate to get to and from work. And like the guy in the video said, they've got you because they know you're going to drive. Now, will I start to think about buying an electric car? No, I won't. Will I still drive, big rigs that require a lot of gas? Yes, I will. Until it's just too damn painful to do. Now, I'm already, not filling up my truck as much. It's got 2 big tanks. Actually, they're not big. They're just dual tanks. No, I'm not filling those all up at $5-something a gallon because that's what it's going to be by the time I get, truck there. But on my Jeep Grand Cherokee with a 22-gallon, I think, tank, something like that. Maybe it's more, but I never fully tap it out to find out. I know I can get 22 in there, but that's not a cheap little deal. I know you guys have rigs that are, way bigger and, well, Sean, my Ford, whatever, my Chevy Tahoe takes 45 gallons. And here in California, yeah, hundreds of dollars on fuel. And it's because of policy. You go to other states, you go down to Oklahoma, where I go every November to see my parents. It's a shocker. Last time I was there in November, I want to say gasoline was like close to $3 a gallon. It wasn't under 3. It was maybe just over 3. But compared to 5, yeah, or 8 in California, some massive, massive discrepancies in numbers. But yeah, that's one of the beautiful things you get by living in Washington State. Super expensive gasoline. And that's one of those things. It's one of those little fees that people don't necessarily, how expensive can it be? Well, with gas, it adds up. It adds up because you're like, I'm going to take a little trip here, take a little trip there. I'm going to go do that. There's so many cool things to see in Washington. You don't want to just, and you certainly can't ride the bus. We have no real, we have no light rail per se. We've got it, but it's not hooked up Seattle to the east side. It's there, but geez, you wouldn't want to ride that either. You could get killed on that damn thing. And you got a bunch of lunatics running around. Literally. So $5 a gallon, you bet. Seattle goes head to head with California this summer on gas prices because we've got our own ability to just jack things up. And hey, you guys are going to like it. We're going to fund all these programs because this is Washington State run by a bunch of Democrats who have all of these needy projects for our money to go to. And that's what we're doing. That's just what we're doing. Yeah, frustrating. But what are you going to do? You're just going to take it or you move. You make your opinion known with where you live and who you support and how that goes. So there's that. All right. That's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. I'll catch up with you in the next one. Love to have you subscribe, hit that notification bell, hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Thanks in advance. I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.